Hey guys, this is Eric Weingarten with Weingarten Racing. It's Saturday, so it's an update video day. So there's many things in this video, not just one thing. So if you don't like what I'm talking about at the beginning, it's going to change. I'm standing right here because I caught something at being an Uncle Bob's. It wasn't Bob. I think Nick gave me something. But anyway, I'm feeling a little bit under weather, but this happens to be the warmest spot of the shop right now. Anyway, because the drive was so long, we had a great idea for a competition, Nick and I. And I want to pass it on to you and see what you guys think. So this will be cool if it goes through. So here, let me just give you the rundown. Let me ask what you think. What Nick and I are trying to do is get a bunch of little smaller YouTube channels. Like, I don't think I'm big, but like smaller ones, maybe in the less than 10,000 or so YouTube channels, to see if they want to do a drag race and kind of almost like a build-off thing. Not exactly, but let me describe it. So all of us will be limited to a maximum cubic inch of 393 cubic inches. You have to run a cast iron stock head. So whatever was on the head. So I can't run my 292 turbo heads because even though GM made them, they were never on a production vehicle. So it has to be a production cast iron head. And you have to have no more than 11.5 to 1 compression. And you have to run a dual plane manifold, 1-inch car spacer, no more. 4150 carburetor, no spread bore stuff on that. Hydraulic roller cam, and I think I'm probably leaving off some stuff because I'm just shooting this from the hip. But here's the thing, it also is going to be in a full-size truck. You have to be in a full-size truck. You can run a 28-10-5 tire, but no more than that. The truck can't be gutted. The truck has to weigh 3650. And I don't know if I mentioned it, dual plane intake manifold. I think I did. But we want to have a total of 8 spots is what we're thinking. Nick's going to bring a Chevy. I've got a Chevy, or Cecil does. Hope you don't mind, Cecil. But I've got that 383. That's my Dyno mule I'm going to do a lot of testing with. I'm going to run some 461 double humps. Probably should run Vortex, but I don't have any. And I can't run aftermarket Vortex because I've got those set here, but that's illegal. And we would like to have other engine families in there too. So I was trying to get a hold of just Mopar Joe, but I don't have his contact because I think he's got Mopar stuff, but it doesn't really matter. His channel is about the right size too. If you got a Mopar guy, has it like that, or even a Ford guy. And the reason why I said 393, because I think there's an FE that's about that size. And Dominic was talking, maybe we should go up to 400, but then you either have to give him some kind of handicap for the bit larger cubic inches above 383 or whatever. Otherwise, we just all build 400s. But anyway, right now it's in the rough stage, but the thought was, well, all of us, 8 guys or whatever, we get the engines built, and then we all meet up at some kind of central dyno location. We all dyno the engines, so everybody gets to see the dyno combinations. And again, it's not all Chevys. And by the way, LSs could enter, because an LS guy, if you did a 6.2, that's like 377 cubic, 360s, something like that, whatever. I hate the liter thing. But anyway, you could do a 383. I know they have them. They also have a cast iron cathedral port head that GM did make, so that's legal. You just have to run a dual plane and a carburetor, which they also do have for that, so you could run that in a full-size truck, as long as the truck weighs 3650, 28-10-5. But you could also have a Ford if you wanted. I mean, you could do a Cleveland with a cast iron Cleveland heads. You could have a pretty good run combination there too. Just all the same things. That's the thing. The idea was you kept it more of a budget-friendly type of build. So all these are essentially, just what we kind of just got done doing at Bob's. A mild engine that you could essentially drive around if you wanted to. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure people are going to push the limits. But we'd also kind of like the pistons to be a factory replacement. No trick pistons and absolutely no domes. But that was the plan anyway. And just to see what would happen, get 8 cars. We dyno together, come back in 2 weeks or so later, and we're in our trucks, and we meet at a central location, just do some drag racing. Maybe we rent the track or whatnot, and just bracket style. And I think everybody should get a chance to run 3 times, and whoever's somehow would work all that out. Whoever has the best, there you go. So, and no, I don't plan to win. This just sounded fun. But anyway, it was a cool idea. I think it'd work out great, and it'd probably help all of us. I haven't talked to Bob, but I don't think he'd even mind if we all dynoed there. But that'd be a lot of dynoing because it's 8 engines. Of course, you wouldn't be switching parts like we were doing on his dyno, but it'd be 8 engines on and off, which is actually still faster than switching heads and whatnot. But anyway, it's just an idea. I haven't talked to him about it. I thought it'd be kind of cool. Now, to deal with Bob's thing, so since I was gone this whole week, I was at Bob's and we were doing dyno testing on different cylinder heads. I'm going to go ahead and tell you this heartbreaking little deal. Several of you, and myself included, wanted to see the difference between the horsepower of the new AFR enforcer head for the small block Chevy versus the old. That test never happened. You want to know why? The new AFR enforcer heads never showed up. So they were supposed to be there Monday. They weren't there Monday. They weren't there Tuesday. On Wednesday, I got a hold of my guy at AFR, and they said, well, it looks like it's going to be there Thursday. Or I think I got them on Tuesday. They said, it looks like it's going to be there Thursday. So I was like, great. We were almost out of heads to test, and then we tested one more set of heads, which I'll get to in a minute, which I had no plan to test, but that was interesting. Trust me, interesting. Anyway, Thursday comes by. We test this other set of heads, which I'm going to tell you about in just a second, and no AFR heads. So I hit my AFR guy and said, oh, looks like it's going to be delivered now on Friday morning. Well, we didn't have time to wait for Friday morning. Nick had to get back. I somewhat had to get back. But Bob also has other stuff too, because the Bisquick was there. Because after all, Bob's working for Bill. So there's a lot of stuff that he has to do specifically for Bill. We're just like an add-on. So he's got to get stuff done. And I'm not saying Bob couldn't got it done. He probably could have. But regardless, we were out of time. So anyway, AFR rerouted them back to themselves. So I never got to test the new enforcer head. So I don't have the answer. What head did we test? This is thank God to Bob. So Bob, if you watch Old Man's Garage, you will see more of Bob McVeigh on there. One of the engines that they had built was for Addie. That's that 16-year-old girl. If she's older, I'm sorry. Anyway, I think she had a 400 because I saw the stock block sitting there. But what heads they did have, because the engine was torn down, was a set of Trick Flow 230cc heads. And he said, you want to try those? And I was like, well, since we got time, why not? If you don't mind. He goes, no, as long as you just put them together. Well, I put together heads all the time. It ain't a big deal. So I was like, yeah, that sounds like a great plan. So that's actually what we did. So if you're wondering what heads did you actually test, I said an open chamber 997 cast iron heads. These are the small gear heads. They actually came on 400s, but not on this particular 400. Anyway, it had 202 valves, 1600 exhaust valves. So it had that. I think Nick did some mild work on it, and it had been milled down to 70cc chambers. So not 76, because that's how they are factory. That was the first one. The second one was the Brodix IK180 heads. And I had done some mild work on them, chamber stuff. I've done a video on it. And all the technical details for all of this, I'm going to have on a Tuesday video for the head part. Because we tested other stuff, and I was like, I better break this video up. It's going to be too long. Even now, as I'm looking at this, we're 7 minutes, 27 seconds in. I bet most of you already tuned out because all you saw was me talking. But anyway, so we did the Brodix IK180 heads. Then the old AFR 195 Enforcer heads. Then, because we were waiting for the new enforcer heads to come in, Bob said the Trick Flow 230s, which we tested those. I'm going to go ahead and give you a little, because you stuck around for 7 minutes and 50 seconds right now. I'm going to go ahead and give you a little update on this. If you look at this, so this is your little teaser, I guess, for Tuesday's video. This is a 406 cubic inch engine. It had, and I'm true, Speed Pro dished hypertetic pistons. Dished. 4 eyebrows. These are like stock replacement. Super, super cheap. It has a hydraulic roller, 235, 247, 540, 560 lift, 108 lobe separation. So small cam, it's a driver, performer RPM intake, not even the air gap. We did use 1,000 CFM carburetor and one of Nick's trick spacer that he has for that. If you'd said that combination and I'd said, which head do you think? Because internet in general, what size? And we're just doing by CCs. Most of you have said 195 CCs, right? Well, if you looked at the CCs we had, that GM 997s are probably 165. The Brodix IK 180s, 180. Maybe 181 because of the work, 182. The AFR Enforcers, 195. And then the Trick Flow 230s are 230 CCs. So if I give you all those heads as far as the volume wise, there's no way you would think what happens. Because I'm going to tell you, the one that won was actually, and only won by 2 horsepower, was the Trick Flow 230. And I know you're thinking, wait a minute, there's probably more to it. There is. We pulled the engine all the way down to 2,800 RPM, so if you want to see the horsepower spread there, that's different too. Not what you think. However, the second place was the Brodix IK 180s. And now we're 9 minutes into this, so I don't mind sharing this. It was all from a grudge. So here's your little story. And yeah, I do hold grudges. I do. I'm sorry, I do. Because you're going to wonder why I did what I did. And I'm going to tell you. About a year ago, I was with Bob, and we were down on that 496 with the Trick Flow 280 heads and doing all that. And Bob had posted that, and somebody in the comments said, don't trust Eric Weingartner. He told me a wrong set of heads, and it wasn't what I ordered. So I had to look up the guy's name. I had no order from him. So I go and I search my QuickBooks to figure out who this might be. I find out what this is because I sold it to the engine builder. I always give 2 invoices. You have one for the deposit and one for the final. Both of them said IK 180 heads. He'd had a call with me, by the way. He called me before this whole thing took place, and he's like, what head do you think best? I said, it's IK 180s. Absolutely should be the best. He's like, and for some odd reason, he thought the 200s. I was like, sir, the 200s aren't as good as the IK 180s. The design is better than the IK 180s. They actually flow almost the same, within 2 CFM. The IK 180s are better. So he's like, sounds good. Create invoice 1, says 180 on it. Create invoice 2, 180 on it, and as I ship it out. Gets the heads. He's like, these aren't the 200s. I was like, no, it's the 180. It said on the invoice both times. Either time you could have done this. Because by the way, this is like months in between, so plenty of time. And he's like, this is not what I want. I sold them. I sold the heads. And I did exactly what I just did on this video on those heads. He said, I got the better heads. I bought the AFR 195 Enforcer heads. That was a year ago. So as we're driving back from, this is last year, driving back from Bob's, Dominic, I was telling him, like, this guy just told him the story, what I just told you. And he goes, I've got a set of AFR 195 Enforcer heads, and I've got a set of Brodix IK 180 heads. I said, okay, do you mind? He goes, no, do whatever you want. Flash forward to this week. That's why that was tested. Guess which one won? 180s. And by more than 10. So, anyway, yeah, I hold grudges. However, the whole thing itself, like, as far as all the testing, that's an eye-opener. Because, by the way, when I show you the flow sheets, because as I'm going into it, I thought, there's no, the 195s are probably going to beat it. I actually really said that. You can ask Dominic and all the rest. Because looking at the flow sheets, the 195s, AFRs, dominated my IKs with the work. Just dominated. And I'll show you the flow sheets on Tuesdays. Then no idea what it did. And then it did. So there you go. The 230s, that's just a fascinating one. I can't wait for you guys to see it. Because I'll say this too, if it had the same compression ratio, it probably would have even been better than all the rest, period. And that goes against all conventional wisdom. We then tested, of course, a single plane manifold, and that's the biggest gain I've ever made on a single plane manifold. And then also we tested a Dominator on the dual plane, which you watch my channel, we've done that before. That was interesting as well. So look for all that on Tuesday. Let me know if you're interested in the challenge. Hope you're not turned off by that. But if you ever want to know why I test some of the test stuff, I do. It's a lot of the time it's because people say things and I'm like, I don't think that's right. I don't know that it's right, but I don't think it's right. So I'm going to test it. And that's what happened. So, interesting enough. But look for a video on Tuesday. I need to analyze all the data and stuff. Because, usually when I'm at Dunsworth, we never pull below 4,000. To me, it's pointless. On Bob's, we did. So for those guys that love that stuff down low, you've got that information. And it's an eye-opener. So, not what you think. You guys take care. I'm sick as a dog, it feels like. I'm standing over here. But anyway, I am no Superman. Bob, by the way, you could hate me all you want. I'm telling you that. And it's fine because I am not a pleasant person. Bob, and I'm being serious, I'm not blowing smoke up his butt. Bob is probably one of the nicer people you will ever meet in your life. If you ever get a chance to meet him, I'm telling you, salt of the earth. Him and his wife both. Like, it just amazes me the kindness of some people. And some people are kind just only on, maybe on videos. No, Bob is legitimately kind all the time. Truly, that was a blessing. Also, I got to meet Austin from Austin's Adventure. That guy is nice too. Like a super great guy. He's got a lot of personality, and it's not fake for camera. That's truly his on and off the camera. He's the same. Also, he, like me, is a foodie. And I'm hoping to get to do an adventure with him, go up to Ohio, maybe fly in, so we can go eat at some of these other restaurants. To business side of things here, if you're like, man, you're doing all this stuff, where's my stuff? There's an intake I did not get done before I left. I want to work on that this week. So if you're that LS guy with a single split manifold, I'll try my hardest to get done. I've got so much work out here to get done, so it's going to be a bunch of late nights. I'm hoping I get to film better, so I'm not dragging myself out here for this, but that's the plan. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching 14 minutes of my face. Tuesday, hopefully I'll have all the data collected so you can actually see way better stuff and get to see all the numbers. Except for I'm going to break it down. The intake part, I'm going to make a separate video because the head stuff alone should be just one video. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Remember, I'm no Superman. Bob's a nice guy. His wife's a nice guy. Austin's a nice guy. They're just great people. So, awesome people. Shoot, I don't think I ever met, it's strange. And I'm going long because if you watch this long, you're a diehard fan anyway. you know, I go out to eat a lot here and just around Oklahoma and stuff. I didn't meet one single person in Ohio that was like a dick. Um, that to me is unusual, because even in Oklahoma we're really friendly, but you always see like at least one Karen or Steve. You know what I mean? I don't know what the male version of Karen is, but I usually see at least one. And maybe if I don't, it's me. So anyway, truly cool. But you guys take care. I'm no Superman. I don't pour cast iron heads. I did race Superboy. Take care.